Thanks, Annie. Okay, and our next speaker is Tom S., not Tom C., and he'll tell you what the S stands for, and he's from Portland.
I'm Tom, I'm an addict. Can you hear me? Come closer then. If anybody's sitting by an empty seat, can you raise your hand? Yeah, if you guys want to sit, that'd be big, because you're going to need to sit for this. Is that right? How long do I go anyway? 2:30? No, that ain't going to happen. Once I get going and standing up. 2:30. Whoa. Okay, well, I've been sick too, so if I go down, just bring the microphone down to me. I'll keep going. I've been asking people about integrity. You get a lot of weird answers. When John asked me to speak, he goes, man, hey, man, you know how he is. Man, you're speaking on integrity, and you got some. I said, really? What is it? And I'll clean it up a little. He said, integrity's not having sex with a newcomer even though they want you to. Well, I got that so far. You never know, though. She's got about 8 months, this gal back at home. Called me, well, never mind. So the S, the C, I won't tell you what the C might stand for, but I went to treatment in '79. This is a good indication of how sick I am, and they called me Tom S., because they called me Tom Slick. And I beat them all at pool, And you got to be good to beat a bunch of treatment people in pool. And it just shows you what a misspent youth I had, And one day we had a deal, and it was something about masks that people use and wear to, manipulator, funny guy, controller, Siri, I don't remember what they all were. There were 7 of them. And they said, and you were supposed to pick which one you thought you were. So I came up with the one that was Daffy Duck, which is a funny guy, using humor to, not deal with stuff, not get beat up. And and then they kind of started laughing. And I thought, it ain't funny. And they said, class, there's about 35 of them in there. The counselor said, class, on a count of 3, let's tell him what he really is. And she goes, 1, 2, 3, and they go, he's a jack of all trades. And what that meant was, I was a master manipulator, that I used all 7 of the masks, that in any situation I would put on any mask, any face, to get my way. It was a master manipulator. And I didn't know that. But 35 people, especially them brilliant people in that nut house I was in, knew that. And, it was like, man, they all can't be wrong. Obviously, I haven't forgotten that. But that's an indication of my disease and how it manifested. I can hear my old sponsor telling me now, tell them how sick you were, and they get on the damn topic, So, since I got so long here, I'll go into a little of that. I was a good kid, and I didn't use. I played sports, and then one day I went to the pool hall, and I was gone, and I never went back to class, hardly. And overnight, it changed for me. I smoked some dope, smoked some cigarettes, drank some booze, had sex. Whoa. And took speed in 2 weeks. So I was a quick learner. And what happened was, I got arrested in 3 years on a bunch of felonies, and I was guilty of all but 2 of them, and then those pissed me off that they had those. But I ended up, in a lot of trouble in 1969, and then I used for 15 more years. And that treatment center was 1979. And so My difficulty was in getting clean. And now that I got clean, I don't want to go through that again. So I work real hard at staying clean, because I know what can happen to me or anybody. And so I'm busy. I'm busy in recovery. And, I started out my first year, I didn't have any integrity, by the way. And the topic is integrity in recovery, which is good because I don't know how you have any if you're not. Nobody I knew. So that first year I was just meetings. God, did I go to meetings and talk in every one of them. Very full of integrity, full of something. And after a year, I got involved in service, started carrying the message in the jails. And, I was like the jail guy. It was cool now. And still talking out of the side of my neck, And at 2 years, my sponsor put me on 30 days silence. Me? And that was very interesting because he told me I wasn't Mr. NA, that I was not the center of attention. NA would go on without me. It didn't need me. I needed it. And I said, well, I'll do it if you will. I mean, that's the best I could come back with. And I began to learn about integrity. I learned about who didn't have it, actually. Them guys talking for 10 minutes every meeting, not saying much. Shut up. It was me. I was looking at me. Kind of a harsh thing he did to me, but very important. Usually I have about at least a 5-minute timer that'll go off and I shut up because, man, those people made me sick. The good news was I had started working the steps, and that's the only integrity I have is from God working through the steps in Narcotics Anonymous. That's all I got it from, if I got any at all. I got 3 sponsees in here, and if you want to talk to them after the meeting, they can verify if I have any or not. And I want to talk about them. But before I get there, where was I? 2 years? Full of myself. And, picture of recovery. And what it did was it helped me pay better attention. It helped me understand a little bit more about my place around here. That I was just a member, And I started to learn again through the steps, and I believe especially through 6 and 7, where my defects were sort of honed into assets, like resentment of authority. I got that really strong. Anybody else? And I think that because I stood for that so strongly, that integrity is standing up for what you believe in no matter what, even if you're in the minority. And so that one, maybe, I could be way off here, because, I am sick. Get out a violin, will you? I don't feel good. But, and I don't even know what I was saying. Authority. Those bastards, they did it. And they did it to me, And so I have intense resentment. It's been turned into, what has it been turned into? A commitment, like she was reading off, soundness, incorruptibility, because I stand for Narcotics Anonymous, and I believe in the steps, and I believe in the people and the love that can be found here, and I stand real hard for that, man. Real tall on that one. And that's what's given me any bit of recovery or integrity that I have. Back to the sponsees. God keeps sending me some real interesting guys to work with. Boy, did I clean that up. She liked it. I needed help. So God sent me these men, you see. The first guy I ever sponsored has 21 years. And they sent me a list of, let's say, wounded men who are angry because they're hurt. And they sort of acted and reminded me a little bit of my dad, you know, who I was afraid to stand up to. Because, you know, he was right and you didn't have any feelings and stuff like that. So what happened was I would have to stand toe-to-toe with these guys and tell them the truth. So I had to learn on-the-job integrity, you know, because these guys were smarter than me, a couple of them. And they know who they are. They're here. And so what happened was the principles of the program, which is just, they're just riddled with integrity and honesty and virtue and you know, straightforwardness. You know, they just are. So in working the program, these guys made me have to work. You know, one of them, Dan back there, used to, he used to read stuff out of the book and try to quiz me and question me so I'd make a mistake. And man, I learned really fast, man, and I usually had the answer. He didn't know I was going to my wife who knew everything. But damn did I have the answer, you know. I got to tell you about Dan. Dan and I have been together 15 and a half years. Dan was not a spiritual man when he came here. Dan would do anything for me. We love each other. Our relationship is based on honesty and trust and being there for each other. Stand up for each other. And I don't think I've had a relationship with a man, anything like that, for that long. And it's taught me more about integrity and than anything ever could. And you know, I was telling one of Jimmy K's daughters about that. She was nearly crying, you know, because it's true, man. It's a powerful thing. And now he's sponsoring like 9 guys and doing that with them. And we've been coming here, I think 2000 was our first year, and we had that time together. It was really, really important. And, you know, Dan won't let me I mean, I don't think I've ever lied to him. He says one time, but I was just trying to fool him, see if he was paying attention. And we still argue about that last night. But isn't that something? Never lied to the guy. Wow. What do you think I was before, Earl? I could never tell the truth even when it would help me. You know, couldn't do it. And then along came Mark, right over here. Mark, I met him. He was throwing a bunch of wood out of a truck, swearing like a, you know, logger. And, you know, like, you got to be careful what you think. Because in both cases, I thought, geez, those guys could use some help, you know. Whoops. So there they were. Well, and Mark came to me because he felt that my wife and I had a wonderful relationship, which we did. And we were Tom and Nancy, you know, about 14 years clean, I think. And, you know, sponsoring half the fellowship, you know, and out there in that rural area we were living in. And then a couple weeks later we separated, you know. And Mark, I can tell this, can't I? Mark says, you want me to beat that guy up because she got a boyfriend right away. Well, he wasn't kidding. Any moment go on with some married woman, you know, and I said, Mark, it ain't about that guy, you know. It's not about him at all. Well, I'll kill your dog. I'll kill her dog. That's what I don't think that's integrity. I said, man, it ain't about the dog either. And see, what it was about was Mark was friends with both of us, and he loved us both, and we both loved him. And he thought he'd have to make a choice between, you know, he'd have to choose me, of course. But he was going to miss some wisdom there. And the truth is that we both still love him, and he's in both our lives. In fact, we both still love each other, and we communicate all the time. And it's been about 7 years, and that's recovery. That's integrity, mostly on her part. But to still love and care and support each other in our recovery is very important, because we grew up together in recovery. And she has unconditional love, and I learned it from her. And what happened then was, I hurt, man. It'd been 10 years loaded, 15 years clean. We went through the war together, man, and the war of early recovery. But anyway, I kept thinking it was Tom and Nancy. And what am I going to do now? You know, I got no home. I got nowhere to go. I'm hurting. Well, guess who was there every day for me? Called me every day for 6 months, man. Every day. Dan. He's like, oh, man. And I'd cry so hard my gut hurt, you know. But I could do that with Dan. Tough guy, you know. Bawling like a baby. And I felt safe, and I had some support, and I had some love, and I had someone who understood, and he was there for me, man. And I needed him. He didn't need me. I needed him. And so I wasn't going to get in no NA relationship, right? She liked that one. I waited like almost 2 years. Pretty good, really. Some integrity there. And then, you know, she chased me down, and pretty much. She wants me to be honest. Funny thing was, you know, I carried the same stuff into that one. And oh, by the way, it has to do with selfishness. And that was my part. Selfish. I lost a good woman because I didn't have much integrity when it came to her about doing some of the things she wanted. I would do some, believe me. But it's a long story, God, I better not get into that. But the truth is, I was selfish. And it cost me. So what did I do with the NA relationship? Oh, God, I don't want to do that again. She was a beautiful woman. And she was a heroin addict prostitute from the streets, my kind of girl. And she'd been to prison and went to school and now runs a treatment center. Fantastic lady. And about 3.5 years, you know, I couldn't give her what she deserved and wanted. And so with some integrity, we stopped. Because I wasn't going to change that. And she knew it. And so, because of recovery, she's got 10 years now. We also have a relationship where we talk a couple times a week. We support each other in our recovery. It's amazing. I don't know why I got onto that. Does that have to do anything with the topic? Yeah, so right in there somewhere, I got prostate cancer. And thank God I had the girlfriend, you know. I won't get into that. I'm glad you didn't get that one, because I'm stopping.
We got it.
Watch out for her. And what happened for me was this. I didn't know, I've been go, 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 man. I go to meetings almost every day, I always have. I am the last guy to leave the parking lot almost every meeting. Almost every meeting. Because that's what it is. It's about the newcomer, man. And the steps taught me that. That's one of the steps. So I don't know why I possess that ability, but I do. And so I have been involved in a lot of people's lives. I'm not going to forget Eric, too, another sponsee. And so we met, parking lot. And loving people and talking to them and answering my phone and going, man, and caring about them and loving them, man, and trying to listen instead of talk, and to really care. No matter where I've been, where they've been, pretty much, and so I've done that the whole time. God blessed me with that, and so in doing that, then I got sick, and I was like, had to stop. Kind of, for a while. And man, all them people came to me and told me they loved me and how much I meant to them. And I'm like, that kind of feels weird. And it was like I was having a hard time accepting that until I realized, once again, it's not about you, dummy. They need to be able to express that and tell someone they love them. And then it was okay. And so my mission then was to give more love out, because it was really obvious that I had been given so much. And so I decided that, well, it's what my higher power was telling me. And I am a lover, not a golfer. Giver of love. And don't go there, Michelle. Where was I again? A giver of love. Somebody's listening. So what happened is, I must have been doing that. I didn't even know it. That's the way the program works for me. I must be living the steps because I didn't even know it, but I get the benefit. All of a sudden I realize I'm not doing that anymore, or I feel good about me and my life. It's like, wow, I didn't even know it. And that's what continuing to work and continuing to show up and continuing to try and be there for other people, I get the benefit. And so what happened was, what happened? Oh, I got really sick again. I don't know, 5 years later? 6 years later, actually, I've been sick for 3 years. I didn't know it at first. And this is a good one. I've always had the hepatitis, but probably as part of that, and me, I was getting 20 years clean. I thought, man, I'm too fat. I need to lose some weight. That's not integrity. It's look good, but anyway, and I'm getting old. So I went on like an all raw food diet. Weird thing. I don't even know why I'm talking about it. For like 4 months, lost 50 pounds. Oh, I was pretty. Oh, God. Fuck, man. Pants fit and everything. It was like, wow, I could tie my shoes and shit. But in the course of doing that, I had thrown my immune system off because it was typical addict behavior. Too much, too quick, black and white, all or nothing. I'll eat everything. I won't eat anything. Kind of a shock to my system, and not having a healthy liver, it activated what was dormant tuberculosis in me. So I had active lymphatic TB. You know about that too? Okay, well, what happened was it took a while to figure it out because it was very rare. They call it scrofula. And God, I'm talking about my, the diagnosis for 10 days was something really bad. What was that? It was cancer. It was lymphoma. I had these things popping out of my neck and in my stomach, and I didn't feel good at all for a long time. Sicker than I've ever been. I felt like I was dope sick for 4 months. Had a fever every day. But they finally figured out what it was, and they did a biopsy, and it was like, but during them 10 days, you know, I'd given all that love out, right? After the cancer, and I thought, and they said, you know, it was pretty serious, this lymphoma. And so you know what happened was I had to stop again. Now all these people came to me, and it was 10 times more because I'd been giving it out. And they were, you know, when they think maybe you know you don't got a lot of time, you'll hear from a few people, you know. But I must have been practicing love and integrity, because it was not only people in the fellowship, it was people at work. It was family. And it was the golfing community. Those guys that showed me love, that supported me, that prayed for me, that carried me. And who did my dishes? Dan. Dan. And a lot of women offered a lot of help, man. Integrity told me, no, just have the guys come over. One of them said, why? I said, because I'd watch your butt while you're vacuuming, yeah. That's honesty and integrity. So, again, the love, the people, the sponsees, man, they carried me, man. They carried me. They prayed for me. They loved me. They called me. They came over. You know, I couldn't whine that much. They were just being too nice to me. And the love and the support was overwhelming. It was tremendous. It's unbelievable. Now, I had sort of a prayer at the time. And I said, man, or God, I think I did say man. But, you know, please, if you want me, man, I'm going. I'm ready. And I don't care. I was so sick. Take me now. But I just learned about love, man. Real love. And I just started really learning. I just wanted more time to learn some more. And boom, they took the biopsy. It wasn't lymphoma. It was TB, which is treatable. It's difficult, but it's treatable. It's going to be okay. I'm going to have more time to do more loving. Speaking of loving, I'm looking at all the pretty women. So I got to talk about that. Was that you? Oh, that was you. I bet he knows. I know he knows. I have, in my life today, more than half my phone numbers are women. And I help a lot of women. And I remember, I think I thought of this on my own, but I must have heard it somewhere. But I was sitting in a meeting one time with these two beautiful women, and somebody made the mistake of calling on me. And I said, you know, these women love me. And I looked at them, and they go, oh, yeah, we do. And I said, and they love me because they respect me. And I said, and they respect me because I respect myself. And it's true. Thank God for the women in my life, man. And to be able to be upfront and honest. And you see, one of the things I did was I snatched old ladies' purses when I was 19, man. And I hurt women badly. And today, I get to help them. There was a time in my recovery from 2 to 7 years where we took young girls into our home, young criminal addict girls with an attitude, just like Michelle. And they taught me so much, man. And they taught me how to respect women. I learned that from my mother. You know, I know that when I hear my mother talk about me today, I know I must have some integrity because she's so happy with me in my life. Where do you know all these people from, you know? She tells me all the time. But back to Michelle. Where was I? Oh, the women. The women. Oh, God, I'm all over the board. To have these women who I love and they love me with an intimacy and no bullshit, you know, is amazing. And for me, not only helping, I had 18 counts of purse snatch and I had 18 girls live in my home with me. And the sponsor said, did you ever think? I said, no. If I'd have thought of it, I'd have screwed it up. He says, do you think maybe you can get some relief now for those women you hurt that you can't get to? And it was relief for me, and I got some. And today I realized again that all the women in my life today are still giving me an opportunity to make amends to women in general for what I did to them. You know, God, I had a good one, but it's gone. That'll happen. Too much LSD. But the opportunity to be of service teaches me integrity more than anything else I think I do. And it's really, I started doing service, I became H&I chair of our area when I had like 2.5 years. All about ego still. Look at me, I'm H&I chair. Well, of course, I didn't realize how much work it entailed. We didn't even have panels back then, you know. I love talking about the old days. And I had to call people and deal with people and coordinate and do all this with professional people in the community. And you know, it taught me integrity. I realized that finally, I remember years ago, there were a lot of people that tried to help me in my life. Good people, counselors, psychiatrists, judges, a lot of lawyers. But these people had integrity and they tried to help me, and I respected and loved them, and I lied to all of them. But one of the classes, I was in these special classes, and the one guy wrote on the chalkboard one night, he goes, he was doing I's, a bunch of I's. He said, I am the same person I am at work as I am at home, with my wife, or on the golf course. And it was like, why would you want to do that? How could you? You're kidding me. I was so phony, man. And today I can say, with complete honesty, I am the same I am at work. And you can say F-bombs in there all the time. I work in the locker room at a country club. And as I am out on the golf course playing golf with the governor, you know. I shoot from the hip, baby. It just sometimes the language needs to be different. And, you know, I'm with my boys. It's, you know. But you know, if I'm in a setting where there's professional people and they don't do that, I don't do that. But I'm still me, man, everywhere I go. I'm still me. I shoot from the hip. I don't care. If you're an idiot, I'll say, I'll get on you. You know, Earl. I'm just kidding you, because we spent some time with Jack White. He loves us using his last name. Dan and I did. We went down with John and them down a couple months ago or so, and we had Jack in the car, and believe me, Dan and I just rode him. And he held his own with the two of us. That was amazing. And I got to know Jack. And another thing about that is these old-timer people are sick just like us. They aren't special. God, Earl, I'm glad you came, man. They aren't special. They are special. But what I didn't know was I was special too. You know, I thought I had to have 20 years before I was like one of the winners. It was wrong. I was wrong. I had it, well, after them 2 years, I started getting it. And today I'm free, you know. I love cutting up with these guys. And I'm one of the winners, man. I'm even an old-timer, you know, because I'm old. But to feel free to be me wherever I go and shoot from the hip and not be afraid of somebody. I got to tell you how I don't have integrity. John goes, man, go into the merchandise room. We'll let you in, you know. He goes, we only let the main speakers in, but go ahead, man. Integrity was gone. I walked in with Tony D, you know. Tony's always been one of my heroes. And I remember seeing him speak 14, 15 years ago. And I was afraid to go up to him. And today I go, Tony, you know, we were in there and he was looking around, went the wrong way, didn't know what he was doing. I go, what are you, new? So then he started saying, yeah, man, I'm new. Hey, I need help, I'm new. You know, But I guess what I'm trying to say is when I realized I had some integrity, I didn't know, but I must have, because then I felt good about me wherever I am. With you know, I play golf and tournament golf and stuff with a bunch of fancy highfalutin golfing, and they ain't no different than anybody else. I don't have to be different. One time I went out and was playing golf. Here we go. Keep this on the tape. I was playing golf with these guys, and all three of them were veterans of some serious war stuff, man. They were talking about it. And I'm like, should I tell them I was a hippie and dodged the draft, you know? And I thought, no, it wouldn't do them any good, would it? Wouldn't help them at all, man. In fact, it might not help me either. You know, so. And that's what she was talking about, that thought before the action. And so I had that. Man, where'd that one come from? I don't know where I was. Earl, I'll get on Earl some more. We could end early, couldn't we? Are you bored yet? Okay, good. Michelle. Okay, I'll tell you about the guys I know in the program, or women, that don't have integrity. That's always fun. And then Eric. You know, being clean 20 years or more doesn't mean you have integrity. Time does not equal recovery, and we know who they are. You know, talking out the side of their neck, hitting on the newcomer still, you know, or they've never had a sponsor or really had a sponsor, and they don't work the steps. I'm not taking their inventory, I'm just saying. And they will do sick stuff. I remember a speaker saying, you can come in here and sit in one of them chairs and get sicker. Recovery isn't going to jump up on you. You got to jump up and get it. And, you know, maybe they'll stay clean and maybe they'll settle for less, but that's not going to work for me. And I might badmouth them a little bit to my sponsees, but I'm not going to hate them because they're sick. You know, I don't want to hang around them though, you know. And I'll tell you, Eric I met years ago doing the steps on a Monday night football, and I'm driving clear down there to do this. Yeah, Jesus. That's how I do most of my service work. God. You know. Then I come out going, man, that was good. Wow, you know. And so we worked the steps for real deep, heavy step work stuff. And I fell in love with Eric. And then I think all the guys that completed that thing are still clean today. In fact, we know they are. And that was what, 4 years ago? No, shit, that was 8 years ago. And then Eric and I hooked up about 4 years ago. And man, I'm telling you, these three dudes here saved my life. Eric does the best step work I've seen. Not to knock the other guys. It's all good. But I'll tell you this, man. When I stand up for something or somebody today, you know, I'm sounding like I'm touting my own horn, but this shit is true. That if you mess with one of them guys, and you're one of those guys that ain't doing that deal, you ain't doing the deal, and you're hurting my friends or my sponsees, and it's ridiculous, you're messing with me. And I'm not going to, hang around you, man. And if you think I was your friend, and you're just messing with him, well, you're wrong. And this actually happened. And the guy says, man, you're being childish. And I looked up at him and said, what you did was wrong, man. Well, you don't come around no more. And I'm like, I hang around people I want to be with. I stick with the winners, man. I'm not going to hate the guy. I'm not going to disrespect him. I still hug him. But I don't like what he did, man. And these three guys that stand up for me, man, I'll tell you what, if I was in trouble and I needed some help, if I had Mark and Dan on either arm, man, nobody could stop us. Because we have truth and honesty and recovery. And we stand for what's right, man, the truth. And we've had to work on it. We're not perfect. I'm not. Jesus, have they helped me. I have to keep working hard to stay with them, and I've never been above them. And these guys have taught me so much. And to respect and show the truth and the honesty and the care and the love and concern for these guys has taught me all about recovery, man. All about integrity. It's real. It's real. We tell each other the truth. And they love to see me make a mistake. I can't think of any. We're getting close now, huh? Yeah, okay. I don't know how to wrap it. Oh yeah, I got a story. It's kind of my thing I started lately, and I've been so sick that I haven't been able to do anything but go to meetings. People would give me rides, and then the only time I felt good besides sleeping was when I was talking on the phone to somebody in recovery. It'd take me a while, and all of a sudden, I forgot I was sick. Because I do a little bit of talking when I'm talking with those guys. But I heard a speaker say this, and I'll end with this. It's weird. Hang with me. She said she was studying geese, and geese fly in an inverted V, and they fly together. Now, the ones in front are doing most of the work. The ones behind them are, like tailgating on it, whatever they call that in NASCAR. Say it again, Rusty. That's it. And the ones behind them are honkers. They're the only ones honking, the back guys or gals. And they're encouraging the front ones to keep it going. Yes, I'm a honker. But they all take turns. They all take turns. Everyone's a leader, follower, and a honker. And I just heard this on the History Channel or something, Discovery Channel, that these geese can fly 171 times further together than they can alone. 171? I mean, wow. And that's got to be what's happening in here. And the other point is this. When one of them gets sick, they go down to the ground. 2 or 3 of them stay with that one till they either die or get back to honking. That's what we do here. Thank you. If you learned anything about integrity, talk to Earl.
Thanks to our speakers. Thanks, Tom. Let's circle up and close with the third step prayer.
I'm a recovering addict. Thank you. Welcome to the Seattle International NA Convention number 2. I am Lori. I am a recovering addict, and I am so grateful for that. Could we please pause for a moment of silence to reflect on the reasons that we're here, followed by the serenity prayer for those who care to join in? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thank you. This is our anonymity statement. The Fellowship of Sorry, I have a really bad cold. The Fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous is based on spiritual principles, one of which is the concept of personal anonymity at the level.
I'm Tom, I'm an addict.
Hi, Tom.
How is that?
Oh, Tom,
Yeah?
somebody lost the 15-year chip, and it's here if they're here.
Keep coming back.
Sorry, Tom. Sorry, Gil.
That's all right. Okay, so I wasn't going to be the speaker, right? But I am. Here I am. I'm standing here, and you're looking at me. Had I known I was going to speak tonight, I would not have eaten so much sushi. Betty took us to all-you-can-eat sushi, all right? And we're addicts. You should have saw how much of that stuff we ate, especially me. So I put on a black shirt. Maybe it'd make me look thinner. But I don't think so. It was good. And it's good, thank you all for coming. It's good to see I was sitting at the table with most of the speakers, and I was thinking, that's cool. I'm sitting with the speakers. And, and now here I am again. Denise at 9 in the morning. That's nice of you to be here. Of course, it's only really 9 something for us with the hour change. Lawrence will be after that. Dan's the men's speaker. Sheila's the women's speaker. We have Ronnie on Sunday and Yo Steve. Have I missed anybody? You guys are all here. Thank you for coming. 4 years ago, I spoke right here. I was right there. And Haywood was the chair, and it was good. You should get that tape. I hope I can do it justice. It was really good. But I was crazy back then. 4 years ago, I was crazy on a girl. I'm much better now. Thank God for time. There is another girl, and I'm not as crazy, but it's kind of familiar, sort of a pattern. Oh well, keep coming back. So I've been clean. My clean date is December 30th, 1984. And if you can figure that out, that's a whole day before New Year's Eve. Why I would pick that day? It proves that it was not my idea. I had a whole bunch of really good weed in my house that I hadn't paid for, and I had to sell it. And I did, and stayed clean, and paid it off, because I was finally done. I had been trying to get clean. Well, I wasn't really trying, but I had been trying at least for a year, and I'd been going to meetings for 7 years at that point, sporadically. And I'm old, so that was a long time ago, wasn't it? And you know, I never really talked too much about what happened. You know, what it was like is easy. What it's like now is beautiful. But what happened was probably the worst part of all of it, because I tried to get clean and couldn't, and I wanted to get clean and I didn't. And so when people struggle, I know what that's like. I know how powerful this disease is. And then once I got clean and stayed clean, I have seen how powerful it is again. Not only with me, but the people I've loved, and the people we've lost. And I've buried a sponsor, and he taught me how to love men. And so this is not for the faint of heart, this getting clean, staying clean, and especially the thing that makes it easy is the growing spiritually. That's the key here. So I knew I was going to speak, so I went and I turned some music on, my little headphones, and I listened to The World is a Ghetto. And it was like, wow, how appropriate is that? Let me see if I can remember it. I can't. There's no need to search anywhere. Happiness is here. Have your share. If you know you're loved, be secure. Paradise is love. That's for sure. And that's what I found here is the love. It's all about the love. I look at Dan there. Dan's got 20 years now. I've been his sponsor since he had 19 days clean, and I love Dan. He loves me. And it's the most beautiful thing there is. We talked about, when we were new at loving each other, and how beautiful it is. We've been to many conventions together, and we're going to go to more, but to have that kind of love, to feel that kind of love, it's priceless. And I'll try to explain how I've been able to get out of the way and allow the love to come through me and to permeate all the cells in my body and make me feel good no matter what's going on in my life. I have sort of a heavy heart tonight because my dad is dying, and his spirit self is beginning to take over his human self. And it's a beautiful thing, and it's a great transformation. And I thought about not coming and this and that, but he was actually doing pretty good, and I'll be back. So I'm going to not go too long because some of you got to get up, and some of you are looking tired already, so I'll try to keep you awake. See what I got. I was a good kid, and I was a good athlete. All my family is addicts, unanimous, except for Grandma. And we wondered what the hell is wrong with Grandma. And so I learned early on, all the things that you learn growing up like that. And I became a scared, fat little boy. And but I didn't tell anybody. I was a perfectionist. I was the firstborn, so I was the one that, do you approve of me now? Do you approve of me now? Straight A's, athlete, blah, blah, blah. And then one day, that didn't change anything, so I switched. I went to the pool hall. I got loaded, and I think that I drank alcohol, smoked cigarettes, had sex, smoked weed, and took speed, all within a couple of weeks. That's a quick learner. Within 2 months, I was full blown and gone, and I never looked back. And I was 16, so I was a junior in high school, did junior summer, and my senior year, I didn't hardly even go to school. And I was a good kid, right? But I didn't go anymore. And within 3 years, I was born in 1950, so I was 19 years of age when the draft came for Vietnam, and I ran, and I got busted. And, I got 20 felonies, 22 felonies. I was guilty of 20. And in 3 years, okay? Just a scared little kid. And, boy, this is a boring story to me. But anyway, went to jail. I had committed terrible, horrendous crimes in my mind. And, I'd stole old ladies' purses, 18 counts. And I hated myself for it. And I couldn't look at old ladies. And my mother's a good lady, and I have 2 sisters, and they taught me to respect and love women, and here I'd done this. Here I'd done this most horrendous thing. And so when they offered to take me into the Marines, actually, and cut me a deal, I said no. And part of it was because I was angry that my dad and my lawyer went behind my back and told the draft board where I was. But the other part was I knew I had done something terrible, and I knew I needed to pay for that. And I felt then that I would never be able to pay for that. And I would never be able to forgive myself for that. It was terrible. I could hear the ladies screaming, and I ruined their lives. And I scared them. And every time I would drive by one of those places where that happened, I would get that feeling. And it wouldn't leave me for days, and I'd hear it in my dreams some night. So there I was, 19 years old, in trouble, and still had a higher power in my life because I got in trouble a lot. I went to jail a lot, and I never had to do any serious time. I always got up. I always got blessed. I always got lucky. And here it happened, I don't know how, one more time. Basically, because the judge got a resentment, I got off. Kind of neat how that worked. So I used for 15 more years, okay? 15 more years. And one night I flew off a hill and should have died and was out of my body, and I was watching it, and I'm like, I wanted to go, and I didn't. It was like, no, not now. He's not done, not time. And I woke up in the car, and I thought, shit, I wanted to go. I was 24 years old, and I saw that light, and I saw that, felt that love and that connection, and Grandma was there, and it was like, yeah. No, not yet. He's not done. Well, now I knew that you don't really die. So I said, I didn't care anymore. And you really got to watch out for a guy who is not afraid to die. I did anything and everything. And I was even crazier than before, but I couldn't die, right? But I could get arrested again, and I did. Usually it happened around the holidays. So this was Thanksgiving. I got 2 drunk drivings, 2 hit and runs, and an attempt to elude in a week. It was just a normal week, except I got caught. And I got sent to my first meeting in 1977. It was an AA meeting, and it was good. And there was a lot of laughter and a lot of love in there, but I thought, man, I'm glad they have somewhere to go. I'm not like any of them. Hence, I didn't get clean right away. And a couple years later, I got in some more trouble, and I went to treatment in 1979 in southern Washington to get out of the trouble. And I was introduced to my first NA meeting in 1979 in Barnes Hospital. And I couldn't believe it. They were saying, total abstinence. I thought, you're kidding me. So that's where, I was at with my denial. And really? No Valium? And why would you do, And so obviously from the treatment center, I did not get clean. And so 5 years later, a whole day before New Year's Eve, I made a commitment to stop using for 60 days. And in that time, that time, those 7 years since the first meeting and until that night, I'd been to, all kinds of counseling, therapy, group therapy. I just thought of something. My dad was always afraid that I would go to treatment and talk about him and what he'd done to us, right? And so I go to treatment. First group therapy I ever went in was my counselor and 7 other guys. There were 8 of us. First group therapy I ever went to, sat down. Counselor looked at me with that counselor smile, and she was great. Tom, why don't you tell us about your dad? I'm like, wow, man. This is how he was afraid of this. I said, well, he worked hard to put food on the table. And we had a roof over our head, and we were loved. Like that, right? And they all started laughing. Even the counselor had to hide her smirk. And I thought, this isn't funny. What are they laughing at? I'm sensitive. And she said to Greg was the one black guy in our group, Greg, why don't you tell Tom about your dad? And he says, well, let's see. There were 8 of us, 5 fathers. I never knew which one was mine, really. Didn't matter. And I thought, I had it worse than him. I mean, he had it worse than me, I thought. Yeah, that was bad. That's got to be bad. And then Reggie was the one, American Indian, is that how you say it? Reggie was cool, too. I loved both these guys. And she said, Reggie, tell Tom about your dad. And he said, well, we lived on the reservation. I was one of 11 kids. Every now and then we'd see my dad huffing paint by the side of the road when we'd go back and forth from the reservation. I thought, man, that's terrible. He had it way worse than I did. And that counselor didn't miss a beat. She smiled and she said, Tom, you had it as bad as those guys did. From what I understand, from what you've written and told me, you grew up in a war zone. And it sounds to me like you're using your dad's words. Food on the table, roof over the head, love. And I went, wow, she's good. This is good. And it got me. And even though I didn't get clean 21 days in that place, a seed was planted for me. A seed was planted for me. And I, in my mind, said, well, when my wife came to visit me, I stole 6 volumes and a joint, smoked it under the blanket, but oh well. I didn't drink, right? So I started coming to NA when I got clean, and in 84, I like to say 84, even though it was a few days before 85. Clean in 84. I hit recovery as hard as I hit the pipe, okay, and everything else, and I still do. I still do. I bet I've been to more meetings than anybody in here. I just go. I still go. I just keep going. And I mean, I go all the time. Maybe Haywood might be. But, and I've been to meetings with her and driven down to Medford, but so I started going, 10, 12, 15 meetings a week. And I realized once I was at a meeting, I felt good. And if I waited too long to go to another one, I was thinking again, And so we were able to go at the time I got clean in Portland in 84 or 5. They were just breaking up a clique where there was only one meeting a night, and now there were 2. And they would start a meeting at the same time in a different place. So there was a few meetings to go to, and then we had the Blue Goose at noon, and pretty soon a guy started a 5:30 meeting, which I thought was stupid. No, who would come to that? It's still going. Shows you what I know. So we could go at noon, at 5:30, and 7, and then there was a 10 o'clock, really a wild-ass meeting at a hospital back then, the Here and Now, which is actually going again. And it was wild, late night, weird hair, kind of meat market kind of a place. But it was somewhere to be, somewhere to go. And we had plenty of meetings of Narcotics Anonymous in 1985. And I loved it. And I definitely was still kind of doing it my way. My first sponsor was a woman who had 30 days, and I didn't. So my wife's best friend, she'd just gotten out of treatment, and I was desperate, and she helped me for my first year. She made me write the steps. I did a 4-step, a 5th step. We burned it in the fireplace. I got all the way up. At 9 months, I made a long 9th step, and I still have that original 9th step. And people were giving me shit about having a woman sponsor and whatnot. And so at 1 year, I asked this guy who just got 2 years to be my sponsor. His name was Perry. And I'd already gone to H&I at 6 months, so I was already doing H&I, and I was, I thought I was cool. Well, I had a year and I knew shit, right? And I'd tell you about it. And I still kind of am like that. I know shit, and I will tell you about it. So I I hooked up with this guy, and I did the steps again with him, first step. And by the time I had 3 years, he had me do another 4-step. And a lot of the stuff in this 4-step now was positive. And he said to me, he goes, "You want me to turn my head while you read this?" And I go, "No, what are you talking, why?" And I started reading the good shit, and I said, "Man, why don't you turn around?" You know, but there had been a change already in 3 years. What had happened for me, which is a great blessing for me, was I had gotten on the H&I committee for Narcotics Anonymous, and I was going to the jail with the other fellowship, and they were clamoring for drug meetings, they called them. And since I was the liaison for that jail and I was on the committee, I raised my hand and mentioned it. Pretty soon I was doing all the work. And we had not had any contact meetings in the jails in our area at all. They wouldn't let addicts in, and we know why. And so we set up a meeting. And what I used to do when I'd get loaded is I'd call up the jail. They had busted my soon-to-be wife and another innocent gal, and it angered me. So I would call them up, and I would say, "This is my full name." And in my opinion, and I thought that let you off, you know, "You're a bunch of mother and a butt and your daughter," you know, and they would listen. It's like really weird. And finally, I did it about a half a dozen times from your phone. I probably didn't even have one, and so people weren't happy about me using their phone for that, but it was my opinion, right? And finally one night, the guy, his name was Larry, he goes, "Tom, you're boring." I said, "What?" He said, "You got nothing original. It's the same stuff every night. Can you come up with anything new?" And I said, "I don't know." I said, "You got the number for the Multnomah County Narcotics Division?" He goes, "Yeah, I'll get it for you." He got it. I called them, and it just kind of took the fun out of it. So I quit doing it. And, you know, so years go by, and I'm on the committee, and we're setting up the jail meeting, and okay, I said, "We're coming tomorrow night, 7:30, Thursday night, second and fourth Thursday." And it was our first contact meeting, and that sponsor and I went, man. And so I said, "Okay, we'll see you tomorrow." And he goes, my first name is actually Dwayne. I'm not going to say my whole name because it's being taped. And this guy said, "Hey, hold it a minute." He goes, "It sure is nice getting a call from you nowadays, Dwayne. Not like it used to be." And I went, "Oh my God, Larry, that was you?" He goes, "Yeah, I used to work the night shift. I remember when you called. It'd been 20 years. Been 20 years. It had been quite a while. It wasn't 20. And also I remember going to that jail at least 10 or 12 times, and you know, the guard would hit this steel desk, and the door would open. And I remember being cuffed on the floor going, "Man, I wish I could do that. I'll do anything. I used to pray I could do that." Hit that and walk out. And that night, when Perry and I walked out of that jail, our feet weren't touching the ground, and I hit that desk and the door opened, and I walked out, man. I walked out. I'd come full circle. And I've been going to that jail for 25 years. I'll be there a week from Tuesday. And they let me out. Last time I was in there, one of my cousin's kids was in there. Anyway, so I'm an H&I guy, right? But I've also been working the steps. And one of the steps, I made a list of all the persons I had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. People say, "Oh, the 8th step, you make the list." Become willing to make amends to them all. And there was a long list. And those ladies were on that list. And And I thought again that I'll never get through that. And, and I don't even know how long I'm going, but somebody give me the 5-minute or 10-minute sign.
You're fine.
Because you never know, Gil. All right. Well, so when I went to that meeting and decided to give it up for 60 days, my wife was there, and she decided to give it up too. I was like, wow. And because, I looked a lot worse than her, but she sure liked that Coke. And so she had drank or she'd smoked a joint on the way to that meeting that night, and I didn't, because I was at the point where I wouldn't smoke it till after the meeting. It could go all day, but I couldn't make it home, man. It's powerful. So I just talked to her tonight before I spoke. She's an ex-wife now, and we're in real close, real loving. She's a beautiful woman, and I still have one more day in her because she smoked that joint on the way to the meeting. But we still love and support each other, and we came to a convention. She goes, remember when we came to Boise? And I go, yeah, it was the last of the Pacific Cascade, or I don't know what it was. It was real small, had the wings on the shirt. Remember that one? Man, that was good. It was about 100 people. Really nice. And I wish she was here, So I don't know why, about 2.5 years clean, about the same time I became H&I chair, which I thought, that's cool, look at me. I'm H&I chair, and all that meant was I had a lot of work to do, and we didn't even have panel chairs then, and oh my God. And it was good for me because it put me in contact with other addicts, just like going to meetings is good for me because it puts me in contact with the people that can help me and the people that I might be able to help. It's magical. So for some reason, my wife talked me into taking young girls into our home. They were criminal addicts, little ones. I don't know exactly who they were like, probably like Kari. They were cute and sick. And I don't know too much about her, but they were hurt. They were hurt. They'd been hurt. And they had high heel boots and leather jacket attitude, and a lot of makeup, and they were living in our home, man. Right in my house was this disease and this attitude. They reminded me of me. I remember one day my dad's finger ended up on the end of my hand. I don't know how it got there. She's going, hit me, and I'm like, whoa. That girl's still in our life today, and she's using meth and drinking. But these girls taught me about unconditional love. My wife is a giver of unconditional love extraordinaire. Unbelievable. And I learned from her. I watched her. Remember one time, one of our girls ran and took a 15-year-old girl with her, and they'd always run it. And I'd hunt them down like deer, there they are, And so she ran. She took this 15-year-old girl with her, and she taught this 15-year-old girl how to turn a trick and get $10 so they could buy cigarettes and candy. And they got busted, and they were coming back. And our girl came back to our home, and I'm like, you lying little I knew, and I'm mad, right? And my wife takes her and buys her a new dress. I don't think this girl ever had a dress. And I'm like, you should have saw the look on that girl's face. She's like, aren't you going to hit me? Buy me a dress? And I asked my wife, why'd you do that? She goes, well, it's simple. It was her clothing allotment, and it was her turn and her time, and she that's part of the deal. She deserves that. And I realized that love is the healer around here. Not revenge or anger or resentment or any of that stuff, man. Not getting it right or getting even or teaching a lesson. It's love. Love is the best teacher. Love is the only teacher for me. And she loved that girl, and I loved every one of those girls that came into my home. Every one of those little nasty little smart mouth little beautiful little girls, man. And I still love them, and some of them are still in my life today. Dan got to meet a lot of them, and they were hurt, and they'd been abused every way you could be abused. Every way you could be abused. Every one of them was sexually abused, and the worst was neglect. They were neglected. No one even cared about them, enough to pay attention to them, mostly. Never met one of their fathers. None of them had a father in their life, and instead of being their friend, I needed to be a father figure. I tried being their friend, didn't work. So I needed to be a disciplinarian and a father figure. And they respected me. And they, in turn, learned to love me like I could love them. And God, I had something there. Well, anyway, they taught me so much. And, of course, I learned how to go to my room and pray before I said anything. I learned how to meditate for at least 15 minutes before I came back with something. And so I learned about me. I learned about, all that adult child and that codependence and all that kind of stuff too. But I learned to love. And we would detach as soon as they came in the door and then search their stuff. I love doing that. And we had to let them go as soon as they came because they were young and they were in this treatment center is what they were, and they came and lived with us, and we took them to treatment and meetings. I'd take 2 little girls to every meeting. I don't know what people thought of me. And sometimes 3, always different ones. Look at that guy. But I learned how to love no matter what they did or no matter what happened to them, because 99% of them were going to get loaded for sure. And our very first girl has 24 years clean. She stayed clean. The very first girl that lived with us. And the reason I'm talking about these girls is after 5 years of doing it, we were fried. And we didn't even know each other. All we talked about was those girls. And we finally decided we got to detox and quit. It was like, is there a program for this? There kind of is. But anyway, we had support of counselors, other people. We had probation officers. We worked in the system, really, and it was really educational, too. My sponsor says to me finally after we quit, he goes, "How many of those purses did you steal?" I said, 18. Guess how many girls live with us? 18. 18. I went, coincidence? And he goes, "Now maybe you can get some relief for you, because you couldn't help those old ladies. But man, you helped those young, and are you going to be in their lives for the rest of their lives?" I said, I am. And he goes, "Maybe you can get relief." And I thought, man, if I can, because if I'd have thought about it, I'd have screwed it up. If I'd have thought I'm doing this to make amends to me, it wouldn't have worked. I didn't even know. I didn't get it. I didn't realize. But when it was 18 and 18, I got it. And that's how powerful these steps are and the higher power is, because I made the list and I became willing to make amends. And I got provided a way to make them and didn't even know it. That's how my recovery works. I suit up, I show up, I keep doing it, and I don't even know it, and I get the blessing and the gift and the grace that comes to somebody like me, a low-down scumbag. Steal your money and your grandma's money and all the pills, and I'll take shit out of your medicine cabinet no matter what it is. If it's hormones, I don't know. If it felt good, I'll take more. That's the kind of guy. And now I'm becoming a giver instead of a taker, and a lover instead of a hater. And I'm beginning to love myself. And when I can love myself,